Welcome to One Life, the podcast where we embrace the journey of living fully and intentionally in every area of life. My name is Matt Farnham, and while I don't have it all figured out, I'm walking this journey with you, convinced we don't have to choose between a thriving career and thriving relationships, health, and purpose. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. And together we'll explore how to create work-life harmony, reject the lies of comparison, steward our gifts, and embrace the life God desires for all of us. Welcome to One Life. Well, welcome back to this episode of the One Life podcast. My name is Matt Farnham, and I cannot be more thrilled for this opportunity. I'm actually out here in Dallas to record a podcast with one of my mentors and coach, Tom Ferry, and he said, hey, how about we do your podcast here in my studio? So here we go. We're going to just get right into it. I don't have the formal introduction available, Tom, for you, but man, you don't need one, bro. Everybody knows Tom Ferry.
I mean, there's a percentage of people in the real estate and mortgage world that definitely know Tom Ferry.
Well, my audience definitely knows Tom Ferry.
Right on. Okay, well, hey, man, first of all, thank you for coming to Dallas to be on my show. And
yes.
What a treat to finally figure out, hey, I could be on your show too, so let's go.
Let's go.
So what do we want to talk about?
Well, so the timing of this is really unique. I told you, my good friend Treasure Davis and I, mutual friend of yours, client of yours.
Yeah.
Her and I just locked arms, and her husband Aaron and my wife Leslie, the four of us, just hosted a marriage retreat in Colorado Springs.
I love it.
It was called the One Life Retreat, first one we've ever done, hopefully the first of many.
Yes.
But we poured into driven realtors and their spouses.
Yeah.
Whether or not their spouse is licensed or not, we know that when you get into real estate, your spouse is in the business with you.
For sure.
Right? So a lot of times, my heartbeat behind this business is you can have a thriving business and a life of significance. You can crush it at home with your spouse, with your kids, with your family, contribution, and have the business. I know you believe in that too.
100%.
So, in fact, Treasure and I, it's a dream of ours that at one point you'll be part of this retreat. Maybe.
You guys invited us, and it was just like, oh man, I'm already booked to do, and my wife wasn't, I think she was in Kentucky at the Wire event,
yes.
right? So
We were
kind of
competing with
all
that
sort of happening at the same time, yeah.
Yeah, but imagine behind the curtain with Tom and Kathy for a minute, and these real life conversations would be amazing. So, let's just get into that. The main premise of the conversation we had over the weekend was, so many in our industry, Tom, here's the way I'd frame it. If you're not intentional, the industry will prescribe a playbook for you.
Yes.
And some of the playbooks are great, right? A lot of what you coach do is incredible. The playbooks of, hey, how do we farm? How do we convert our SOI? How do we get into AI? And like all these, run the plays that work is something you say all the time. But beyond that, in our industry, there's a lot of vanity metrics, I'm interested in your input on that, but a lot of people that we'll see, I'm not necessarily saying in the Tom Ferry ecosystem, but across the board.
By the way, so can we just level set? It's not just real estate, it's just business.
Totally.
In every business, right? There's cocky people, there's humble people, there's people that have their relationship together, there's people that go through 45 spouses and never figure out that it's them. So I think it's just business in general.
Totally.
Yeah.
100% agree. But to that point, if we're not careful, we look at the people across stage and we don't have the whole story, right? We don't know what's their marriage look like? What's their relationship with their children look like? What's their health and vitality look like? Are they in debt? Are they profitable? Like these types of things. And again, I'm not saying some of the people we have across stages in business, we can learn a ton from.
Absolutely.
Chew up the meat, spit out the bones, right?
Yeah.
But Tom, from everything I know about you, I mean, the business is crushing, has been for so long, right? You've achieved everything anybody could ever hope for in business. But from what I can tell from the sidelines, you and Kathy seem like you have a beautiful marriage. You've married her like 16 times or something like that, right?
3, and she did recently put her hands on my shoulder because our anniversary is like at the end of this month. It'll be 32 years. And I don't know how you could look at your spouse that you love and say, stop marrying me. But that's basically what she says. I'm like, all right, I got it. Yeah.
And the relationship with your boys, it looks so beautiful. In fact, even the last few years, I've been coaching with you, I think, for, 8 years now, maybe. And I've even seen in the last 8 years, maybe in the back half of that, these last 4, seems like you've leaned even more into some of that, or at least it's more public now. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
they're young men now, so I can talk about them in a different way.
It's different. Sure. Yeah. So, in light of everything I've said so far, just what's your perspective on this tension that I think so many people have, where they think they're choosing between a thriving business and a life of significance?
Yeah. So, the bummer is you'd have to go back to like how they were raised, potentially their grandparents, maybe even their great-grandparents. We are all taught unconsciously by our parents, our grandparents, our uncles and aunts, the people we get exposed to, about what's true. And many people know who my dad is. And one thing's for sure, you don't really know him the way I know him, right? Because of my exposure, and he's my dad. And for a long time, we actually referred to each other as like best friends more than we did, father and son, right? We was, hey Mike, hey Tom. Like we weren't going, hey dad, hey son. But all that said, what I got very quickly was he taught me a lot about business and perseverance and how to start and how to finish. But candidly, he's been married 4 times. And I was very upfront with him. I'm like, hey, the last thing I'm going to do is follow you on relationships. And he's like, the last thing you should do is follow me on relationships. We're very open about it. Yeah. So I say that because I think you have to make a conscious choice. Actually, you don't have to. You don't have to do anything. I would encourage you to make a conscious choice to ask yourself, where did that thought come from that says I can't have a great relationship and be a crazy entrepreneur? Where did that thought come from? What was the origin story behind that? Because I didn't get that. I had first my dad, right? And he was in his second marriage, and I was able to sort of watch how he and his partner then, Pua, who's one of my closest friends, my first stepmom, how they operated together, the yin and yang of their relationship, she was brutal for the truth, and he was a typical entrepreneur. We could do it all, right? Like the balancing act of that, which by the way is my wife and I. It's the same exact thing. So I got to watch and observe how they played racquetball together, how they traveled together, how sometimes she was home watching the baby, my little sister Reagan, and how when he came home off the road, how did they operate together? And I got to observe, like, they did a lot of things really right. Like, he didn't walk in and go, oh, let me tell you about my week. He walked in and he was like, Reagan, and at the time I was living with him, Tom, even though I had black hair and he kicked me out pretty quickly afterwards, but he was like, hey, all right, so what are we guys doing for dinner? He didn't say, I've been in 5 cities in 6 days and I've been on 7 airplanes and I'm exhausted. He was like, what are we doing for dinner? What do you guys want to do? What's the plan for tomorrow? Like, hey, Tom, we should go play racquetball. Like, he always had this point of like bringing energy into the relationship. When I know people that travel with me a couple times and they come off like 2 days of events with me and they're like, oh my God, can I have tomorrow off? Right? But like energy is a choice.
Yeah.
Like the energy to give to your spouse after a long day is a choice. The choice also not to give the drama of the day to your spouse and to whip them up into an emotion as a way for you to release. Right? So like those kind of things. And then my other mentor, Bill Mitchell, until the day he passed, was married to the love of his life, right? One of my current mentors, Steve Azonian, okay, so shout out to Steve, because he may see this. Steve, I look at your relationship with Lynn and I'm like, that's the goal. I've spent a lot of time studying other people, men, entrepreneurs, drivers, ferocious killers that also have great relationships with their spouse, with their kids. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but like, I'm just emulating all of the people in front of me, Bill, Steve, Joe Hanauer, all these others that are now past or in their 80s or in their 70s. And like, they've got this beautiful marriage and they're like chairman of the board of some of the biggest companies in the world. And I ask them, were you always like this? They're like, if I didn't, I'd be divorced.
Right.
I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. But you actually made me think of something else that sometimes I think, for our listeners, be reminded that sometimes the person you're looking up to in business might be maybe you're looking up to somebody else to say, that's the husband I want to be.
Right.
This person emulates the father I want to be.
Right.
This person stewards their finances the way that I want to learn from.
Bingo.
So who are the mentors in your life?
Right. And so I can look up here and like Elon Musk, which I've read that book a couple times, and I'm an investor in every Elon Musk company I can get my hands on. I think I'm in like 4 right now. And I will invest in every company that guy starts, because there is no doubt when it comes to transformational business, there's nobody better, right? Nobody better right now on the planet. He is the guy, period, full stop. And he's been married like 37 times, or you know what I mean? Like, and like, hey, you're cute. Let's have a baby together. Yes. So that's not my jam, but I'm able to isolate it and say, I want that part of him, right? I want this part of Bill Mitchell. I want that part of Barbara Corcoran. I want this part of Matt Farnham. And I think what a lot of people miss is, first, you don't go back to the very beginning, which is, what is the origin of the thought that said, I can't have great health and vitality and be great in business. I can't have an excellent relationship with money and be a Christian. There's all these like this or that's in people's lives. And a long time ago, I just decided I'm going to cut that or out of my life, and I'm going with and.
And/or.
I'm going to be a spiritual guy, and I'm going to become a billionaire.
Yes.
I'm going to have an unbelievable relationship with my wife, right? And I'm going to work ferociously like a maniac. I'm going to have a great relationship with my boys. And it's all and for me.
Yes.
And I don't, we'll see over time, Matt, if it works out, but so far so good.
No, I think it is, Tom. You just unlocked something huge we talk about on the show is this both and mentality.
Yes.
I think that, part of my one life story, in just the short version of it for you, Tom, is I was compartmentalizing my life, right? Yeah. I had my business, I had my marriage, I had my kids, our contribution, community, all these different things. It was like spinning plates.
Right.
It was exhausting.
Yeah.
It was this tension. Like if I'm crushing at work, I feel like I'm failing as a husband and father. If I'm at home, I feel like I'm underperforming my potential at work, right? So in God, on my story, he just said, Matt, you got to blur the lines. Like it's one life. You are an entrepreneur. You are a leader. You are a husband. And it's kind of like you talk about life by design. That's something that you said a long time ago.
Yeah. Yes.
And that plays into my story. So when I hear you explain what you just kind of unpacked a moment ago, that's kind of what I'm hearing you saying is like, it's not balance. Balance doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Harmony does. I think it's being the entrepreneur while you're the husband, while you're the father.
So I agree with you 100%. And I have to acknowledge for me, I'm not saying for you, for me, I have multiple identities. And if you go back and you do some research on the study of identities back in the 50s, like the scientific, psychiatry world said, if you have more than one identity, you're a serial killer, you're a psychopath. You should just be the same person all the time.
Right.
And then somebody finally realized, wait a minute, like if I'm like on the football field as a professional athlete, I probably shouldn't operate like that with my kids or my spouse. You know what I mean? Like I actually do need multiple identities. So I'm
picturing the Bo Jackson alter ego where he puts Jason's mask on. That'd be a bad idea as a father.
And then like, all right, let me watch the baby, right? Like, so I think there is something to recognizing I have an identity as a coach. That's a different identity from me as a husband. That's a different identity from me hanging out on the golf course with my friends, right? It's a different identity from me as a CEO or an investor, right? So my investor hat, I switch to a completely different person. I go from like, tell me about everything to, I'm trying to analyze why am I not going to do this deal? And I have a whole bunch of questions I ask. And it's funny when I'm like with a friend, right, who knows me and has known me for a long time. And then they're like, hey, do you want to come to this pitch with me? And I'm like, sure. And I'm just trying to destroy the person in front of me. That's not my natural DNA. But I've invested in enough companies that I've lost enough times that I'm not doing that again. And I created that identity of how I'm going to be when I'm doing a pitch. I've created the identity, Matt, of when I go into a room and I want to meet someone who's so wildly successful that there is zero like intimidation now. I'm walking in with a mission. I've done my research. I know the questions I'm going to ask. I know the questions that they always get asked. I'm never going to ask those. Like I've created that identity, just like I've created like, all right, so I have a date night with my wife. It's tonight. And what am I going to do that's going to make it special? That's also an identity. So I'm with you on like, I look at my whole life by design, but I'm also very clear as I'm setting my goals for the new year. I'm also looking at like, okay, this identity needs to be amplified this way. This identity needs to be amplified that way. And sometimes I'll even set goals. Like I'm going to have a goal of like, hey, if I'm going to invest in companies, what's that going to look like? If I'm going to start a couple companies, what's that going to look like? And all that bleeds into this persona called Tom Ferry.
You just mentioned sometimes you set goals. I'm curious what you think of this. I have not built this yet, but one of my desires for, especially around this One Life community we're building out, is changing the scorecard a bit. Like,
do you have the One Life app yet?
No.
You gonna write a book?
Eventually, yes.
Dude, he just committed, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming.
Okay. Cool.
So,
I have lots of thoughts on that, but I don't want to put my author hat on.
Well, so just real quick. So imagine a scorecard that is, I mean, we should be scoring leading and lagging indicators for business and calls and all this stuff.
Yes.
But how come we're not scoring, where did I show up on my marriage? What are the core things I'm committed to?
Right.
My kids, my health and vitality, all those.
Yeah.
But for the community that we're building out, a different scorecard, if you will.
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
I think it's an excellent idea because anything we measure improves.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's. I don't do it like every time my wife and I go on a date because she would punch me after a while. But I'll say things like every now and then, like, "Hey, how's my performance as a husband?
Yes.
Where do I need to improve? I say it to my kids probably once a year, like,
Yeah.
hey, the older you get, the more you know that I had no idea what I was doing when I was raising you.
Yeah.
And by the way, you'll be in the same situation when you have your kids.
Yeah.
But if there's something I could do that's better or different as your dad, like what would that be? And it's fascinating because now one of my sons works with me and the other one is talking about it. Yeah. And like that'll change the dynamic of our relationship. And I can look at how tight my dad and I were. And then when I decided to leave, I can look at all the things that brought that up. And I'm like, well, I don't want to make that mistake. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I'm very conscious of like, hey, what do I need to do to get better? Like, how will I be a better dad? How can I be more of a friend when you need that? You know, can we have honest conversations about where you're at in your life? I don't want to be coaching you unless you ask me to coach you. Right. But it's hard because I'm a dad. Yeah. And if I see you doing dumb stuff, right, and I'm pretty good at it, right? Like if I see you doing dumb stuff, it's hard for me to call it out. And it's also hard for them to listen because they're like, oh, all right, Dad, like you're just coaching me right now. But you're asking for permission. Yeah. You know, one of the exercises we did at the marriage retreat that we just held was a very simple, I call it the 1 to 10 scale. It's very simple. Yeah. But ignorance is not bliss, right? Yeah. You specifically asked Kathy and your boys, hey, there's 2 mistakes we make. Number one, assuming that we know where we are. Yeah. And we assume we know how to make it better. Right. Versus just asking, right? All progress starts with telling the truth. That's exactly what you're doing with Kathy and the boys. Yeah. Yeah. So you travel so much, Tom. So when you're on the road, 2 questions. First of all, when you're on the road, how do you stay connected with Kathy while you're traveling? Do you guys have some certain kind of things that you're committed to consistently, or is it just random? I mean, obviously, just communication. First of all, so my wife is active in the business, but doesn't have a role, but she has all the authority she could desire. I'm her boss, so she's checking in. Hey, how was the day? How was the room? Like, what worked? Like, she's asking me those questions because I'm on the road and I'm in the middle of a tour, right? So I'm like going city after city after city, and then it's probably like usually me switching it to like, how's Nana? Like, how's Duke, our dog? Mm-hmm. Have you heard from the boys today? I haven't talked to him yet. And like that's like pretty normal check-in stuff. And then we're in the middle of a bunch of projects that her and I have together. And by the way, if you're looking to improve the quality of your relationship, you need to have athletics together and you got to have projects together. Mm-hmm. Projects could be your faith. Projects could be something you're building, something you're working on together, something in your community, whatever it may be. Yeah. But I just find that like those of us that play together and those of us that work together, we stick together. Yeah. And, I know you've heard me say this before, like my wife and I are very different, like polar opposites in many, not our values, like the way we look at family and life and faith and all that stuff, but in everything else, we're super different. And I remember like my mentor, Wayne Dyer, when I was telling him like, my wife is really different. Like she's going this way and I'm going that way. And he like put his hand on my shoulder and he's just like, if both of you were the same, one of you isn't necessary. Right. And it was it stuck with me forever. So I think it's that. Like it's, when I'm on the road, it's not easy. It's not easy to be a spouse with your spouse on the road. Yeah. How many movies do we see? Johnny Cash on the road, falls in love with somebody else, leaves his wife and baby like behind, right? Yeah. So we're very mindful of like, there's a toughness that's required for her and there's a toughness that's required for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? So just a lot of communication. Personal question for you. Mm-hmm. Versus all these other questions? No, this one's personal. This is real personal. Yeah. Because this is something I've just seen over the years with men specifically that are in roles with a lot of people looking up to them. Yeah. Yeah. Are there some specific guardrails or anything you've put in place when you're traveling specifically? Oh, yeah. Because obviously, you're around thousands of people all the time. Yeah. I'm sure there's quite a few young ladies out there that look up to Tom Ferry. Sure. What are maybe some specific handles or tools that you use to protect you and Kathy? Hey guys, how many of you have never seen me speak before? Hands go up and I go, oh, I suck. And then I click. Number 1 coach 12 years in a row. La la la. Why are you here? Is the next slide that comes up every time I do a talk. Why are you here? Like, what are you trying to get from this? The next one, I'm like, I'm here because I'm trying to do everything I can to be the best for that. That's my wife of 31 years, right? That's my son, Michael. That's Steven, right? And I talk about my family all the time. Now, ladies, don't get mad. There is a percentage of the ladies on the planet that are actually attracted to the guy who loves their spouse. Mm-hmm. I give them no room. Mm-hmm. You with me? Yep. None at all. And look, I'm not like beating people off. No, you with me? I'm not that. But over the years, I've had plenty of like, shake your hand and they hand you a room key card. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, just, I'm like, oh, that's nice. I'm like, oh, I think this is yours. Right. I make it just so apparent that I'm so in love with my wife that I have no interest, and I do it in all of those events. Just to it just kind of puts a shield up. Do you know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm not going there. I do have a rule, like I won't go to lunch or dinner with a female without somebody else there, right? Ever, because they could be my buddy's, wife, and she's like, I need to talk to you about my husband, and I'm like, cool, who you bringing with us? Because I'm not going to be sitting in a restaurant in Dallas, seen with another attractive woman, because then it's just, oh, did you, like, there's
that's living beyond reproach.
Right.
Don't even leave a room for a question.
So I cut off I just cut off all of that stuff.
And you don't travel alone. You always travel in. I mean, at least with somebody, if not in groups, right?
Yeah, I mean, usually it's a posse, right? Because the event team and sales and everybody else that's like supporting. But like I do gigs by myself where I'm hired to go speak someplace, and I just fly in, fly out. I'm going to Miami next week, I think. Yes, I'm going to Miami next week, and then I'll be at a big conference with lots of very aggressive, wild, crazy, drunk salespeople, and I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna go to the rubber chicken dinner. I'm gonna eat my food really fast. I'm gonna go back to my room. I'm gonna call my wife. I'm gonna get a good night's sleep. I'm gonna wake up in the morning, go to the gym, wake up the next day, kill my talk. That's my wife. That's my kids. And then I'm gonna leave. Yeah. I've got it down, Matt. That for me was important, because I did see a lot of my elder contemporaries go through 5, 6, 7 relationships, and I was like, that's not for me.
I honor you with that, Tom, because it is unfortunately the exception to the norm.
Sure.
I was on people on the show have heard this before, but I was on vacation with some friends. I think last year we're in Cabo, and we're out in a boat deep sea fishing. He's telling me a story about his friend who's just this incredibly successful entrepreneur, and I'm like, man, what's it take to build a company like that?
Yeah.
He's like, 3 marriages, and that was a joke. And I'm like, man, it's like
kidding, but not kidding.
Totally.
Kidding, but not kidding.
Yeah. So I honor you for what you've built, but kept the first things first, which is beautiful. So rhythms and guardrails, just kind of on the day-to-day for you. How do you, because you're just like us in the real estate business, as a coach, this business that you've built never shuts off. Do you have some clear boundaries or guardrails that you've put in place when it comes to personal development for yourself, for your family? How do you shut things off? Do you have certain little disciplines that you do?
So it is definitely harder when your spouse is in the business.
Sure. Yep.
So what I've learned with, and again, we've all read every marriage book on the planet, hopefully, and Men Are From Mars, all that stuff, right? My wife is a very expressive individual, and she's very spicy, just the way I like it, right? Very Italian. So if there's something going on, I have to honor the fact that I could be ready to churn it off. She has to let it out. And the hardest part of that is being, again, just using the sort of very basic Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. We want to solve everything. I'm a CEO of a company. I'm CEO of multiple companies. All I'm trying to do is fix stuff all day long. And then you come home and they're like, did you hear what happened with this and this and this and this? And I'm like, well, did you? No, I can't go there. Because what I want to say is, we need to call and then hold on, let me write that down. No, let's get it. No, she doesn't actually want to fix it. She just wants to let me know that she knows. That's her way. That took me a long time to I knew it, but I didn't apply it. And I think a lot of us can relate to that, in our marriages or relationships. There's things that you know intuitively, but until you actually walk in it and actually do the work, right? All you do is great. I was just frustrating myself all the time. Yeah. And then she'd get mad because I'm trying to fix things that don't need to be fixed. She just wanted me to know. Can you relate to this?
Totally, yeah.
So, I mean, it could be the kids. It could be something in a project we're working on.
Wait a minute. You're not asking me to fix anything, are you?
No.
I'm like, okay, thank you.
No, and the more angry they are, the more you know it's no, I don't want you to fix. I don't even ask about the fix thing anymore. I just go, oh, Rue, whoa, okay, tell me more. And I try and lean into it. Yeah. I'm not a gossiper. I don't like talking about people. Right. It's just not my jam. I know for some people it's very much their jam. It's just not my jam. I don't really care. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, I have 9,000 days left in my life as of today. Right. I don't really want to talk about other people. I want to do my shit and be fired up and go help people and then try and be a better golfer and maybe do some yoga because I'm not as flexible, and then take my wife to Jackson Hole and see if she'll marry me again. That's where my head is. Love it. So that's a lot of that is guardrails. I just don't let the drama in.
So question for you, and I'm gonna have to have your team wave at me back here when I need to start wrapping this up, but. So one of the things we just did at the marriage retreat, and it was a business marriage retreat, we were helping them how do we design the business in such a way that supports the greater vision for your life and for your marriage?
Yeah.
So it's pretty unique.
Oh, I got that one for sure.
One of the exercises that we did, and I want you to coach our audience for a moment.
Sure.
Is we had them unpack, okay, we have vision and values for our businesses. We have our mission, our values, and most people are pretty clear on that.
Yeah.
But however, most have not taken the time to create a vision or values for your marriage or for your relationship or your family.
Right.
So we took them through an exercise of let's assess where we're at. Let's acknowledge where we want to be 6 months, 5 years from now, whatever it is.
Right.
Action steps. But it was, how do we connect as a couple emotionally, relationally, spiritually, intimacy? How do we manage money together? All these different things.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this filter that runs them down. We have kind of clarity, alignment with the vision and values for our marriage. And then we do that for the business. And so oftentimes couples do that and they realize, oh, these are both beautiful visions, but yet they're not really aligned.
Not aligned.
When the ultimate goal, when I talk about one life, would be imagine these two rivers just flowing together in a powerful way.
Yeah.
So for somebody who ends up with a little bit of competition there, or conflict between the two, what would you say? Because what I would say to that was, where does the business vision maybe need to concede a little bit to the greater vision for your marriage and for your life?
Right.
And how do we get those in alignment? So as a coach, how would you coach somebody on that?
I'd be very cautious to tell somebody that they need to dim their business. I would say there's 5 or 6 stages of building a company. So when you're in startup mode, it is 24/7, whatever it takes, or it fails. So when we started this company 24 years ago, I said to my wife, we're good savers. We set aside a lot of money. We're making this decision together, and I'll see you in 5 years. Because if we're lucky, in 5 years, we'll get to the level where at least we're earning what I used to earn at my last job, and now we can make this happen. And she's like, pinky promise, let's go, right? That's a hard thing to say when you have a 2-year-old and 4-year-old. But when you're in the startup stage of your business, if you don't do that, you fail, you die, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no half-assing startup. How many real estate agents do we know that half-ass it in the very beginning, and then 15 years later, their business is still half-assing? So the first 3 to 5 years, you gotta crush it. Then you have to go through, in between kind of that first stage and second stage, it's the perseverance stage. If you cannot persevere through, I'm paying everyone else, we're winning awards, and I'm not making any money, because that happens in a startup business. If you can't get through that, if you can't get through the conflict it creates in your marriage, you can't get through the challenges of whatever you have to go through, because everybody's got to go. If you're going to climb the mountain, it's going to be difficult. You with me? So that stage, that requires a whole different relationship conversation before you actually get to grow, scale, cash cow, and maybe exit.
But the thing you said that I don't want anybody to miss is you said you and Kathy decided that together.
Together.
That's the trick. When the entrepreneur has these big dreams and the spouse hasn't bought into that and rolled them into being part of the solutions to the challenges that come with that, therein lies conflict.
Right. Yeah. And I will tell you, Matt, I've never said this, I don't think publicly ever on a podcast, probably 3 years, we started in 2004, so I think 2005, 2006, what happened in 2007? Oh yeah, that's right, 2007, global financial crisis, pandemic, it's got nothing on this. And I remember working my face off because I'm a wartime general. That's who I am. And I remember going into 2008 and literally walking in the house one day, probably working 16 hours, startup mode, now in a global financial crisis, walked in, looked at my wife. She was sitting on the ground playing with the kids. And I felt disconnected. I knew she felt disconnected. I knew that there's a truth, and I don't know who declared it true, but I've certainly witnessed it. Women leave, men don't. And I'm like, she's going to leave me if I don't change. As hard as this is, and everything that I'm doing, and all the reason why I'm doing it to help the family and to help our clients, it's always family first for me, and then it's the clients and my coaches and the community, and someone's got to help, and I'm that guy. I'm like, if I don't stop what I'm doing right now, and I actually went outside, it was my house in Newport, and I opened up my laptop and I wrote down 4 questions. And I don't remember what the 4 questions, but the essence of it was, what do I do that's creating disconnect with my wife? And I wrote a laundry list of things that I was doing that I was creating disconnect. And then I'm like, okay, what has to change? Am I actually really going to change, or am I just writing this down? What is it? Am I really going to make this change? And then, okay, nothing about what she had to do. it was all just like looking in the mirror. Like I remember my coach, Teresa Jabor, telling me after I had this conversation with my wife, she's like, Tom, you need to take 100% responsibility for the love, the joy, the patience, the empathy, the sex, like everything, 100%. I'm like, 100%, it's 50-50. And she's
fair.
she's like 50-50, that's divorce. 50-50 is divorce. You have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, or I think like 6 and 8 at the time. And she's like, no, you have to take 100%. But prior to that, I walked in, I'm like, hey, Kath, can we talk? I just opened up the laptop and I just started crying. I'm like, I love you more than anything else, and I'm not sure if this is worth it. We're in the middle of this, and she's like, I know it's hard. Like, we just had a really honest, she's like, I love you, and I miss you, and I know you're trying to save the world, and you're trying to save our family, because my savings account during 2007, 8, 9, 10 went from here to here. That creates a little stress and tension, doesn't it? I've never had my wife say, oh, you know what's sexy? Less money in the bank. Oh, baby, that's hot, right? Like, that never happens.
Right.
But we once again, pinky promise. I'm like, every drought ends in recovery. We got this. But I was like, okay, I'm going to come home and be present, and I'm going to be a better husband, a better father. And you know what? I also became a better CEO. So even though I'm talking about how hard it is, I was in the startup phase, but I was like 3.5, 4 years into it and realizing it could potentially wreck my marriage. And that's when I'm like, okay, I got to make adjustments.
I love the 100% that you just brought up. That's something we actually did at the retreat as well. Is a leader-filled marriage. Like in our businesses, the buck stops with us. But why do we think we get to go 50-50 at home sometimes, right? It doesn't work.
50-50 doesn't work.
It's a formula for disaster.
Especially if you have young kids.
Oh yeah.
Right? Your spouse is dealing with, and God bless, like all the women. Men are such wimps. Like I see these like clients of mine that have like a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and they sell like 35 homes a year. And I just want to parade them in front of everybody. Every dude that's like, oh, it's hard to make my phone calls, and I'm not sure my spouse I want to punch him in the face. You know what I mean? And maybe it's because I was raised by a single mom. Maybe my grandma Liz was a real estate agent and like crushed. You know what I mean? I just have so much respect. And then again, like there's going to be times where my wife's 100% responsible for the kids. You with me? Because I'm on the road, right? And then I'm like, well, then I need to be 100% responsible for everything like in our marriage to make sure that I'm just making her feel special and like, letting all the nonsense go away. So I don't know, just I get inspired about that.
No, I love it. And one thing I've said often is no other success will compensate for failure in the home. So I appreciate you being transparent about that. And, the other thing I thought of, I had a friend say this recently, is we can sell 100 homes, but we can do it and lose the one that matters most if we're not intentional. But you can have it all.
You can.
With intentionality, awareness, boundaries, habits, disciplines, and all those things. And you have exemplified that. So last thing I want to say just for our audience is, man, I just want to honor you. Because this ecosystem that you've built, this retreat that Treasure and I just did last week, honestly, bro, it doesn't happen without the last however many years that Treasure and I both have been in your ecosystem. Now, people were there that maybe aren't in Tom Ferry coaching. Sure. But many of them are there because of the respect and the reps
what you guys have created, how you guys live your life.
Yes, but the platform, the credibility was built within your ecosystem. So Treasure and I are both grateful for you. People's lives, we were told, have been changed forever from this weekend. And I just want to honor you because you played a small role in that, Brody. So thank you.
Proud of you, man. Thank you. And I'm super proud of you guys.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Well, we'll wrap. So, man, what a gift, what a treat, what a surprise to be able to do this in Tom's studio. So I hope you were encouraged by this message. Please share this episode with somebody that needs to hear it, that will encourage. And we just want to grow this One Life community. So please rate and review the podcast. And thank you for listening today. We'll see you soon. I hope this episode encouraged you today. Thank you for subscribing, sharing, and rating the podcast. It truly means the world to me. And be sure to visit theonelifepodcast.com to join our community. That's where you'll find updates on virtual meetups, special events, and more. And remember, God created you on purpose for a purpose. You don't have to choose between a life of significance and a thriving business. You were made for both. This is One Life.